The first time my bank called, I thought it was a scam. You know the kind, those robotic voices claiming there's suspicious activity, trying to get your social security number. I almost hung up, but something in the real person's voice on the other end made me pause. Mr. Patterson, this is Jennifer Chen from First Vermont Bank's Fraud Department. Shh. We've detected unusual activity on your accounts. Can you verify your location right now? I was standing in my kitchen in Woodbridge, Vermont, holding a cup of coffee that had gone cold. It was early November, and through the window, I could see the bare maples behind my house swaying in the wind. I'm at home, I said. Why? What's going on? Sir, we're showing multiple login attempts to your online banking from 3 different locations in the past week. One from your registered home address, which checks out, but also from Burlington and from, this is strange, from what appears to be a VPN routing through Romania. My hand tightened on the mug. Romania? I've never even been to Europe. I didn't think so. Mr. Patterson, I'm going to ask you to come into the branch this afternoon. We need to secure your accounts immediately, and I'm going to recommend you speak with our cybersecurity consultant. There's something else showing up in your digital footprint that's concerning. That word, concerning. It's such a polite way to say your life is about to fall apart. I'm David Patterson. I'm 64 years old, and until that phone call, I thought I had my life figured out. I'd taught high school history for 37 years before retiring 3 years ago. My wife, Linda, passed away from breast cancer 5 years back, and I'd learned to live alone in our old farmhouse on the edge of town. Most days were quiet, coffee at dawn, a walk with my dog Charlie, reading in the afternoons, dinner with friends once or twice a week. Simple, safe. But I wasn't completely alone. My nephew Ryan had been living with me for the past 8 months. Ryan's parents, my brother Tom, and his wife, died in a car accident when Ryan was 15. Linda and I took him in, raised him like our own son. He went to college, got a business degree, worked in Boston for a few years. When he lost his job last spring and his apartment lease ended, I didn't hesitate. Come home, I told him. Stay as long as you need. He'd been nothing but helpful. Mowed the lawn, fixed things around the house, helped me set up my new computer when the old one died. He had a girlfriend, Melissa, who came around a lot. They were saving money to get their own place, he said. I was happy to help. I called Ryan that morning after I hung up with the bank. He was at the hardware store in town, picking up supplies for some repairs on the back porch. Hey, Uncle David, what's up? Did you use my computer for anything? My bank login? A pause. No, why would I? Someone's been accessing my accounts. The bank just called. Seriously? That's messed up. You should definitely get that checked out. Want me to come with you? No, it's fine. I'll handle it. Okay. I'll be home around 2. We can talk about it then. His voice sounded normal. Concerned, even. I felt guilty for suspecting him at all. At the bank, Jennifer Chen was younger than I expected. Maybe 30, with sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. She led me to a private office and pulled up my account history on her computer. Mr. Patterson, I want to show you something. These are the IP addresses that accessed your accounts. She pointed to the screen. There were dozens of entries, going back months. This one is your home network. We verified that. But look at these timestamps. She highlighted several. Someone accessed your savings account at 2:47 a.m. last Tuesday, your checking account at 3:15 a.m. the Wednesday before, your investment account at 1:30 a.m. yesterday. I was asleep at those times. Exactly. And here's what worries me. She pulled up another screen. Someone's been running searches on your accounts, looking at your balance history, your automatic payments, your beneficiaries. They even pulled up the paperwork for your home equity line of credit from 2019. My stomach went cold. Why would someone do that? Usually, they're planning something. Mr. Patterson, I've seen this before. Someone mapping out financial assets, understanding cash flow, looking for vulnerabilities. She paused. I've asked our cybersecurity consultant to join us. His name is Marcus Webb. He used to work for the FBI's cybercrime division. Marcus Webb was a tall black man in his 40s, carrying a laptop bag. He shook my hand with a firm grip. "Mr. Patterson." Jennifer filled me in on the basics. "With your permission, I'd like to analyze your digital footprint more thoroughly. It'll take about an hour, but I think we need to understand the full scope here." "Do whatever you need to do." He set up his laptop and started typing. Jennifer excused herself to help other customers. I sat there, watching Marcus work, his face growing more serious by the minute. Finally, he turned the screen toward me. "Mr. Patterson, I need to ask you something important. Do you live alone?" "No. My nephew lives with me." "Does he have access to your computer?" He helped me set it up a few months ago, and he uses it sometimes when his laptop's charging." Marcus nodded slowly, like a doctor confirming a diagnosis he'd hoped was wrong. "Sir, I'm going to show you something, and I need you to stay calm. Can you do that?" I nodded, but my heart was already racing. He pulled up a program I'd never seen before. "This is forensic software. It lets me see what's been happening on your devices, your network, even your cloud storage." He clicked through several screens. "Someone installed keylogging software on your computer 3 months ago. Every password you've typed, every website you've visited, every email you've sent. It's all been recorded and sent to an external server." The room seemed to tilt. "Who?" "The installation came from inside your home network, and whoever did it also accessed your Google Drive, your email archives, your medical records from the hospital's patient portal." He clicked to another screen. "Mr. Patterson, they've been reading your emails with your lawyer. They know the contents of your will." I couldn't breathe. "What else?" "They've been researching your medications. You take something for your heart, correct?" "Atenolol, for blood pressure and arrhythmia." "They've been searching for information about it. Side effects, overdose symptoms, interactions with other drugs." He met my eyes. "And they've been looking into your life insurance policy, the one worth $350,000. The coffee I'd had that morning threatened to come back up. My nephew is the beneficiary, and my niece, Emily. They split it, I know. They pulled up the policy documents last week." Marcus leaned forward. "Mr. Patterson, I need to be very direct with you. Based on what I'm seeing here, someone close to you has been planning something. The pattern of behavior, the financial mapping, the medication research, the insurance policy review. It's consistent with what we call murder by proxy planning." I stared at him. Murder. He'd just said murder. "I'm calling the police," Marcus said, "and I strongly recommend you don't go home alone. Is there someone you can stay with tonight?" My friend Robert, from the school where I taught." "Call him, right now." Marcus picked up his phone. "Jennifer, we need the police here immediately." The next 3 hours were a blur. 2 detectives came. Detective Sarah Morrison and her partner, Detective James Rodriguez. They took statements, looked at Marcus's findings, made phone calls. They wanted to search my house, but they needed a warrant first. They asked about Ryan, about Melissa, about anyone else who had access to my home. "Don't let on that you know anything," Detective Morrison said. "She was a woman in her 50s, with graying hair and kind eyes. Act completely normal when you go home. We're going to get that warrant expedited, should have it by tomorrow morning. But tonight, I want you to be extremely careful. Don't eat or drink anything that's been out of your sight. Don't take any medications from bottles you haven't personally verified. Do you understand?" I understood. My hands were shaking. Robert picked me up from the bank. He was my age, had taught English at the same high school, and we'd been friends for over 20 years. When I told him everything in his car, his face went pale. "Ryan, are you sure?" "I don't want to believe it. But the evidence. You're staying at my place tonight. No arguments." At home, I had to pretend everything was normal. Ryan was on the couch watching TV when I came in. "Hey, how'd it go at the bank?" I forced myself to smile. "Oh, just a false alarm. Some algorithm flagged my account because I bought gas in Burlington last week. They're overly cautious these days." "That's good. Glad it wasn't serious." He smiled back. His smile looked genuine. "How could someone planning to kill you smile like that?" "I'm going to pack a bag," I said. "Robert invited me to go fishing up at Lake Champlain tomorrow. We're leaving early, so I'll stay at his place tonight. Oh, nice. You two have fun. Tell him I said hi. I packed quickly, trying to remember Detective Morrison's instructions. I grabbed my medications from the bathroom, the atenolol, my vitamins, everything. When I reached for the atenolol bottle, I paused. The label looked right, but I opened it. The pills inside were white, small, round. They looked exactly like they should, but I took the bottle anyway. In my bedroom, I grabbed clothes, toiletries. My eyes fell on my laptop. Marcus had found the keylogger. I picked it up, along with its charger. Ryan called out from the living room. Need help with anything? No, I'm good. My voice sounded false even to me, but he didn't seem to notice. Charlie, my golden retriever, followed me to the door, tail wagging. Take care of Charlie for me? I called to Ryan. Of course. We're buddies, right, Charlie? The dog went over to him, and Ryan scratched behind his ears. The normalcy of it made me want to scream. At Robert's house, I finally broke down. He poured me a whiskey, and I sat at his kitchen table with my head in my hands. I raised that boy. After Tom and Susan died, Linda and we gave him everything. How could he do this? We don't know for sure it's him yet, Robert said, but even he didn't sound convinced. Who else could it be? Melissa? The police will figure it out. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the past 8 months. Had there been signs? Ryan making me tea before bed. Had that started around the time the keylogger was installed? The way he'd insisted on helping me set up online banking. How he always asked about my doctor appointments, my medications, and my heart. I'd been feeling worse lately. More tired, more short of breath. My doctor had adjusted my medication dosage last month, but it didn't seem to help. I'd mentioned it to Ryan, and he'd been so concerned. Maybe you need a second opinion, Uncle David. Oh, God. Had he been doing something to me already? At 2 a.m., I got up and found the atenolol bottle I'd brought. In Robert's bright kitchen light, I examined the pills. They looked right, but I couldn't be sure. I called the 4-hour nurse line for my insurance and described the situation. The nurse was alarmed. Mr. Patterson, if you suspect medication tampering, you need to go to the emergency room immediately. They can test your blood levels. Robert drove me to the ER in Burlington. The doctor there was young but thorough. We'll run a comprehensive blood panel. If someone's been substituting your medication, we'll see it. And if you've been getting too much or too little, your blood chemistry will show that too. They drew what felt like a dozen vials of blood. The doctor took the pill bottle I'd brought. We'll send these to the lab for analysis as well. Results should be back in a few hours. We waited. Robert fell asleep in the plastic chair beside my bed. I stared at the ceiling tiles and wondered how my life had become this nightmare. At 6 a.m., the doctor came back with a printed report. His face was grim. Mr. Patterson, your blood levels show something concerning. Your atenolol level is almost undetectable. You should have a therapeutic level between 200 and 800 nanograms per milliliter. Yours is at 45. What does that mean? It means you haven't been getting your medication, or you've been getting such a low dose that it's not therapeutic. He held up the pill bottle. We did a quick field test on these pills. They're not atenolol. They appear to be mostly lactose. Basically sugar pills. The room spun. Someone switched my medication. That's what it looks like, Mr. Patterson. For someone with your cardiac history, being off atenolol for an extended period is extremely dangerous. You're at significantly increased risk for heart attack, stroke, or sudden cardiac arrest. How long have I been off it? Based on your blood levels, I'd estimate 3 to 4 months. 3 to 4 months. That's when Ryan moved in. The doctor continued, I'm admitting you for observation. We need to get you back on your actual medication, but we have to do it carefully. Coming off and then restarting beta blockers can be tricky. You'll probably be here for 2 or 3 days. Robert called Detective Morrison while I was being moved to a room. She arrived an hour later, still in the same clothes from yesterday, looking like she hadn't slept. She listened to the doctor's report, took photos of the pill bottle, and made notes. Mr. Patterson, we got the warrant at 5 a.m. We're searching your house right now. She checked her phone. Actually, I just got a text. They found something. I need to go, but I'll be back this afternoon. By noon, I had 3 visitors. Detective Morrison, Marcus Webb, and a woman introduced as District Attorney Helen Bradshaw. They closed the door to my hospital room and pulled up chairs. David, the DA said, we'd apparently moved to first names. We found significant evidence in your home. I want to walk you through what we discovered. Detective Morrison opened a folder. In the basement, hidden behind some old furniture, we found a lockbox. Inside were several items, printed copies of your bank statements, your will, your life insurance policy, and your medical records. There were also handwritten notes. She pulled out photos of the notes. I recognized Ryan's handwriting immediately. The notes outline a timeline, Morrison continued. They refer to you as DP, your initials. They track your daily routines, when you take medications, when you're typically alone. And there are calculations. Your assets, debts, the insurance payout, minus estimated funeral costs. My hands were shaking so badly I couldn't hold the photos. We also found medications, she said. A bottle of real atenolol, hidden in the lockbox. The pills matched your prescription. And we found a bag of empty capsules and lactose powder, the kind used to make the fake pills. DA Bradshaw leaned forward. David, based on this evidence, I'm filing charges against Ryan Patterson for attempted murder, fraud, and conspiracy. We're also charging his girlfriend, Melissa Torres. Melissa? She's mentioned in the notes. There are text messages between them discussing the plan. We recovered them from Ryan's phone. He wasn't as careful about deleting those as he was about covering his tracks on your computer. What did the messages say? Morrison hesitated. Are you sure you want to know? I need to know. She pulled out printed screenshots. Ryan to Melissa. Another month, maybe 2. He's been having more chest pain. Melissa's response. Are you sure it'll look natural? Ryan. Doc said he's high risk. When it happens, no one will question it. Old guy, bad heart, living alone. Classic. I read them twice, 3 times. The clinical coldness of it. When it happens, as if my death was just another item on a checklist. There's more, DA Bradshaw said quietly. We found evidence that Ryan had already called your insurance company, asking about the claim process. He told them he was asking, hypothetically, in case something happened to you. He wanted to know how quickly they paid out. When did he make that call? 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks. He'd been that close to going through with it. We arrested both of them at 7 a.m., Morrison said. Ryan was still at your house. Melissa was at her apartment. They're being arraigned this afternoon. I don't think either is getting bail. Over the next 3 days in the hospital, the story filled in. Marcus Webb came by and showed me the full extent of the keylogging. Ryan had been reading my emails for months, including correspondence with my lawyer about estate planning. He'd seen that I was planning to update my will to leave most of my estate to charity, with smaller amounts to family. That must have been the trigger. The police found Ryan's search history on his own laptop. Searches for how long after stopping beta blocker until heart attack, undetectable ways to cause heart failure, life insurance payout timeline, inheriting from relative. He'd even looked up cremation costs versus burial, probably calculating which option would maximize his take from the insurance. Melissa's involvement was more passive, but still damning. Text messages showed she knew what Ryan was doing. She'd even helped him buy the empty capsules and lactose powder online, using her credit card to avoid leaving a trail to Ryan. She'd never outright said, let's kill him, but her messages showed she was counting on the money. When we get the insurance money, we can finally move to Portland, she'd written. Maybe buy a condo. The fake pills were sophisticated. Ryan had carefully opened my real atenolol capsules, dumped out the medication, and refilled them with lactose powder. The capsules looked identical. He'd been doing this for months, slowly replacing my prescription a few pills at a time so I wouldn't notice the bottle emptying too quickly. My doctor, Dr. Helen Park, came to see me on my second day in the hospital. She was shaken. David, I'm so sorry. When you came in last month saying you felt worse, I increased your dosage, but you weren't actually taking any medication at all. I feel like I failed you. You couldn't have known. I should have run blood work. I should have verified. I just never imagined. She trailed off. What she didn't say. She never imagined someone would be actively trying to kill me. Robert visited every day. On the third day, he brought my mail and some things from home. The police had finished processing the scene. Among the mail was a letter from my insurance company. Robert had opened it, thinking it might be important. It was a confirmation letter. Ryan had added himself as a secondary contact on my policy 3 months ago, authorized to receive information and ask questions about the account. The company was just now sending the notification, delayed in their system. If he'd gotten away with it, he would have been the one they called when I died. I was released from the hospital on a Thursday. Robert offered to let me stay with him, but I needed to go home. I couldn't let Ryan take my house from me, too. The place felt different. Police tape was still up on the basement door. The lockbox was gone, taken as evidence. I walked through each room, seeing it all differently now. The kitchen where Ryan had sat with me drinking coffee, chatting about his day, while my real medication was locked in a box in the basement. The living room where we'd watched football together. My bedroom, where I'd slept while he was down the hall, maybe listening for sounds of me dying. Charlie greeted me like I'd been gone for years, tail wagging frantically. At least someone in this house had truly loved me. The preliminary hearing was set for December. D.A. Bradshaw called to prepare me. David, you'll need to testify. I want you to be ready for what you'll hear. Ryan's lawyer is claiming he was just looking out for you, that the notes were him trying to understand your finances to help you. What about the fake pills? They're trying to say you might have gotten confused, taken them out of the bottle yourself, that Ryan was storing your real medication in the basement for safekeeping. That's insane. I know. The evidence is overwhelming, but they'll try. And Melissa's lawyer is arguing she didn't know what Ryan was planning, that she thought it was just theoretical discussion. The hearing lasted 2 days. I sat in the courtroom and watched Ryan being led in wearing an orange jumpsuit. He looked different, thinner, older. When his eyes met mine, I didn't see remorse. I saw anger, like I'd done something wrong by not dying on schedule. The prosecution presented the evidence methodically. The keylogger, the lockbox, the notes, the fake pills, the text messages, the Google searches. Marcus Webb testified about the digital forensics. My doctor testified about the medical danger I'd been in. The insurance company representative testified about Ryan's suspicious inquiries. Ryan's lawyer did his best, but it was like trying to bail out the Titanic with a teaspoon. The evidence was too clear, too damning. At the end of the second day, the judge ruled there was sufficient evidence for trial. Ryan and Melissa were both bound over. The judge denied bail. Given the nature of these allegations and the risk to the victim, I cannot in good conscience release these defendants. Ryan exploded. He's a selfish old man. He spent 40 years preaching about helping people, about making a difference, and then he was going to leave everything to charity? We're his family. We deserve that money. His lawyer tried to quiet him, but Ryan kept shouting. I took care of him. I fixed his house. I mowed his lawn. I helped him when no one else would. And he was going to leave me $20,000? After everything? Deputies moved to restrain him. As they let him out, he turned back to me one last time. You were supposed to die. The courtroom went silent. Melissa was crying, her face buried in her hands. Her lawyer looked shell-shocked. D.A. Bradshaw leaned over to me. That outburst probably just saved us weeks of trial prep. He essentially confessed. The trial was scheduled for March. But in February, Ryan's lawyer approached the DA with a plea deal. Ryan would plead guilty to attempted murder and conspiracy in exchange for a 25-year sentence. Melissa would plead guilty to conspiracy and fraud, getting 10 years. They want to avoid trial, Bradshaw explained. Ryan's outburst at the hearing, plus all the evidence, means they'd definitely be convicted. And given how premeditated this was, they're looking at life sentences. This way, they at least have a possibility of getting out someday. I had to decide whether to accept the plea. Part of me wanted the trial, wanted to hear every detail laid out publicly, wanted Ryan to face the full weight of what he'd done. But another part of me was just tired. Tired of reliving it. Tired of being a victim. Will they have to allocute? I asked. That means formally admit to the crimes in open court. Yes. They'll have to state exactly what they did. Then I'll accept it. But I want to give a victim impact statement. The plea hearing was in late February, on a cold day with snow falling. The courtroom was packed. Ryan and Melissa were brought in separately. Melissa went first. She stood before the judge, her voice barely above a whisper. I plead guilty to conspiracy to commit fraud. I knew Ryan Patterson was planning to cause harm to his uncle, David Patterson, for financial gain. I did not stop him. I helped him purchase materials he used in the commission of the crime. I discussed the expected proceeds with him. I am guilty. Then Ryan. He stood straight, defiant even now. I plead guilty to attempted murder in the first degree and conspiracy to commit fraud. I systematically replaced my uncle's medication with fake pills, knowing it would cause his death. I planned to inherit his life insurance money. I tracked his health decline. I researched ways to cause his death to look natural. I am guilty. The judge nodded. Before I impose sentence, I understand the victim wishes to make a statement. Mr. Patterson? I stood. My hands held a paper with notes, but I'd memorized what I wanted to say. Your Honor, Ryan Patterson is my nephew. I raised him after his parents died. I loved him like a son. I paid for his college. I welcomed him into my home when he needed help. And in return, he decided I was worth more dead than alive. For months, I was dying. I felt weaker, more tired, more pain in my chest. I thought it was just age catching up with me. I never imagined that someone I loved, someone I trusted completely, was causing it. He was watching me deteriorate and waiting for me to die. Not just waiting, actively causing it. The doctors told me that if this had gone on another few weeks, I probably would have had a fatal heart attack. Ryan would have gotten his money. He would have cried at my funeral, probably given a touching eulogy about how much he loved me. And no one would have known he murdered me. What haunts me isn't just that he tried to kill me. It's that he was good at pretending. He smiled at me every day. He asked how I was feeling. He offered to help with things around the house, all while I was dying. I don't think Ryan understands what he took from me. I will never trust another person the way I trusted him. I will never have family in my home again without wondering if they want me dead. He didn't just try to kill my body. He killed something in my soul. 25 years seems like a long time. But I was supposed to have maybe 20 years left in my life, if I'm lucky. He was willing to steal all of that from me for $350,000. So no, Your Honor, I don't think 25 years is too much. I think it's exactly what he deserves. I sat down. The courtroom was silent except for someone crying in the back row. I think it was Emily, my niece, Ryan's sister. She'd been devastated by all of this. Couldn't believe her brother had done it. The judge imposed sentence. Ryan got 25 years in state prison with no possibility of parole before 20. Melissa got 10 years, eligible for parole after 7. As they were let out, Ryan looked at me one last time. There was still no remorse in his eyes. Just cold calculation, maybe wondering where his plan had gone wrong. After the sentencing, I stood on the courthouse steps in the snow. Reporters were there. The story had made national news. Mr. Patterson, what would you say to other elderly people who might be vulnerable? I thought about it. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, investigate. Don't assume family members have your best interests at heart just because they're family. And most importantly, verify your medications. Check your accounts. Stay involved in your own life. Don't let anyone make you feel like you're too old or too confused to handle your own affairs. D.A. Bradshaw stood beside me. This case highlights a growing problem. Elder financial abuse and medical abuse often go unreported because victims can't believe their loved ones would do this. David was lucky. He caught it in time. Lucky. It was a strange word for what I'd been through. But she was right. I was alive. That was lucky. It's been 6 months now since Ryan and Melissa went to prison. I still live in the farmhouse in Woodbridge. I changed all the locks. I installed a security system. I take my medications directly from the pharmacy, and I verify each pill before I take it. I have regular blood work to make sure my levels are correct. I updated my will. The bulk of my estate goes to the scholarship fund at the high school where I taught, with a portion to the Vermont Elder Protection Agency. Emily gets $50,000. She had nothing to do with Ryan's plan, and she's been devastated by it all. Ryan gets nothing. There's a specific clause. I leave nothing to my nephew Ryan Patterson, not out of vindictiveness, but because he already tried to take everything. Robert still checks on me every day. We've started a tradition of having dinner together twice a week, always at restaurants. I still have trouble eating food I haven't watched being prepared. I'm in therapy, working through the trust issues, the nightmares, the hypervigilance. Charlie's getting older too, gray around his muzzle. We take walks every morning, just like we always did. Sometimes I think about how different things might have been if the bank hadn't called when they did. If Marcus Webb hadn't been so thorough, if I hadn't brought those pills to the hospital, I'd be dead. Ryan would be rich, and no one would have known it was murder. On quiet nights, I sometimes wonder if there were signs I missed. If I was too trusting, too naive. If I should have known that someone willing to smile at you while planning your death isn't someone to be trusted, blood relative or not. But mostly I think about this. I'm 64 years old. I have, God willing, 15 or 20 more years ahead of me. Ryan tried to steal those years for money that would have been gone in a decade or less. He was willing to trade my life for a temporary payout. I won't let his actions steal my remaining years by making me bitter. I won't let him win by dying inside even though my body survived. I'm living now with more intention than I ever did before. Every morning I wake up is a morning he didn't intend me to have. Every sunset I see, every book I read, every laugh I share with Robert, every wag of Charlie's tail. These are all moments Ryan tried to take from me. I'm still here. He's in prison. And somehow, I have to find a way to call that justice. The snow is falling again outside my window as I write this. It's beautiful, the way it covers everything in white, making the world look clean and new. Tomorrow I'll wake up, take my real medication, verified and checked. I'll make coffee. I'll walk Charlie. I'll live another day that I wasn't supposed to have. And that, I suppose, is the best revenge of all.